we started, fundamentally, I'm lazy. I don't want to start cooking up new things every day. So I want to remind everyone, this is an interactive cooking class. You can ask questions to me. In fact, I ask you to please ask me questions as we go along. You can use the chat box wherever you are and just type in your questions. If you're on Instagram, sometimes those questions rise up really fast. So if I don't get to them, just type it in there again and I will answer you. So I am a teacher of intuitive cooking, which is, I want you to be able to cook without recipes. So if you're, there and you're trying to scribble down every little thing that I did, I'm gonna just say, let go, okay? All of this is being recorded. You can watch it again. Letting go is the first step to becoming an intuitive cook. So let's talk about what we are, well, I already told you what we're gonna make today. We're gonna make a quinoa macro bowl, but let's talk first of all about making the quinoa. By the way, if you see me looking over to my computer over here, that's me looking for questions that I can answer for you. So I know people on Instagram are not going to be able to see that I have this rice cooker right here. Those of you that are on Zoom can see it. I had to get our rice and grains cooking. That's not rice, it's quinoa cooking earlier, but let me show you exactly what it is that I did. And if you don't have a rice cooker, don't worry, I'm going to answer that question too. So we're going to start by taking a glass jar. And the reason why I like to use glass is because I like to see how pretty the grains actually become. And we're going to be filling them up. You do not need to measure 1 cup, a half a cup, whatever, because we're just going to be using twice the amount of water. So if you have, one of these of grains, you're going to put twice the amount of water in there. So 2 of these. So I start with quinoa, and I like mine to be mostly quinoa. So I'm going to fill it up mostly with quinoa. You absolutely can use rice, brown rice. That would be delicious. I'm just someone who prefers quinoa. You can do rice and quinoa. Actually, that's a delicious combination. And now I'm going to also add a series of different like legumes or lentils. So I'm going to add some lentils in here. These are brown or green lentils because I want to get some protein in. You can add more if you want to be honest with you, that's totally fine. Here's some red lentils. I know some of you can't, apparently these are hard to find right now, but I found them. Just do all lentils. It's really not a big deal. You could do all quinoa. No one's, use what you've got. And I found some split peas, which is also really nice. Again, use what you've got. Okay, so I love to call these yummy, gorgeous grains because they are truly gorgeous. It's like those sand, sculptures that you used to build when you were a kid. So you are going to take this and put it in your rice cooker and then put twice the amount of water. This amount is going to make grains for me for multiple days, okay, which is great. You can use more or less, however you want to. Let's just talk about if you do not have a rice cooker. If you don't have a rice cooker, you're going to put this in a pot. You're going to put twice the amount of water. You're going to bring it to a boil, and then you're going to turn it down on simmer and cover it and let it cook. It's not as much of a science as the rice cooker, so you might have to check on it. If it's not done and there's no more water, just add a little bit more water and keep going, okay? Not a big deal. So that is it. We are done with the grains for now, and we are going to continue. I'm getting some just feedback here that Sarah Siegel made my brisket chicken celery puree last week and that it was so good. Wonderful. I love it. I'm so glad that all of you made my Passover recipes. The next thing that we are going to work on is a lemon tahini cream. Now, I have to confess something to you. My lemon tahini cream, which is seriously like so good, I invented for an Israeli cooking class, for my Israeli food. And it was literally just the other night that I was like, I want something on my macro bowl that gives it a little bit more protein. And I was like, well, what if I just put lemon tahini cream on there? How would it be? And it turns out that it's fabulous. And when you think about it, sesame tahini comes from the Middle East, but it's from sesames. And then when you think of like Japanese food, they also use sesame seeds. So it goes well together. And the lemon actually is going to brighten the flavors of everything. So this lemon tahini cream, I'm going to recommend that you make it in a large dose and kind of eat it with everything. You're going to eat it with just plain vegetables. You can eat it with steamed vegetables. You can eat it on top of a sweet potato or squash You're gonna put it on all your rice. You can eat it with meats, chicken, whatever you want. This is gonna be a great thing for you. And I also recommend that you make it in large large batches, because then you're gonna have it for a long time. So this is the rest of my tahini. My recipe calls for about 1/3 cup of tahini, which this is a little bit more than that, and 1 to 2 lemons in there. So I'm just gonna go directly in here so you can watch it be made, and then I'm gonna have extra, and I'm gonna use this for the rest of the week. If you're concerned that I'm gonna run out of tahini, don't worry, I have like 3 more bottles at home. I brought so much back from Israel when I was there in December, so I've got a lot of tahini here. So we're gonna start by just taking a lemon and squeezing it into our tahini. I'm using my fingers to catch the seeds. That's just a little trick. I think I learned that on the Food Network, watching that years ago. I'll be honest with you, it's not always the easiest thing to learn how to cook on the Food Network, but you do get some good tips. So my goal for you here today is not that you just watch me cook, though that's fun, is that I really want to educate you. I really want to empower you to be a kitchen badass, right? My book is Meal and a Spiel, How to Be a Badass in the Kitchen. I've been teaching cooking classes for the past 10 years in LA and all over the country, and I am not doing it to entertain people. I am doing it because I want you to not need me anymore. Okay, so I have a feeling it's gonna need more lemon than that, but I'm just gonna get my lemon ready because we really want it nice and lemony. That's the reason why we want it nice and lemony. Is some of you are like, I don't like tahini. You know, well, it's because you're eating it plain. So tahini needs to have some lemon in there. So, and some salt. Okay, just add some salt. Now we can either stir this with a spoon or take it. I'm going to show you what happens. I hope you can see this in the jar. When you add lemon to tahini, the whole thing gets really thick. And you're like, uh-oh, what happened? So we're going to add hot water. So this is, you can see what's happening here. I'll show you, like, this is what it is now. You see how it's already thickening? It thickens. It's like really, really thickening. It becomes like peanut butter. So that becomes a paste, and that's not what we're looking for. So we're gonna add hot water. But before we do, let's just taste it for lemon and salt content. Look at this. Do you see what happened? That's not what tahini's like. Honestly, I've become kind of a master of this. That is like nearly perfect. I'm gonna add a little bit more lemon juice. And then some hot water. Just a little bit. You add too much hot water, it's like not the end of the world. It just becomes less thick. And it'll thicken in the fridge anyway. So just gonna mix this in. You know, I've never really done this in a jar, but I wanted to show you. So this is like maybe not the best route. You see that I'm making a mess? This is totally typical of me to make a mess. I might just put this in a bowl. You can see what's happening though. What's happening? It's beginning to soften up. So I can see that it needs more hot water. That is so good. And we're gonna mix it up. Okay. There we go. So this could use even more stirring, but I'm not gonna like sit and do that. Let's stir and stir and stir and stir. Let's see if we have any questions here. Okay, Shara says, I squeezed lemon on the roasted cauliflower that I said to do in my book, and I'm assuming you're saying that it was amazing. What a simple and delicious trick. That's absolutely true. When you go to the market, you are going to want to stock up on lemons. And I sometimes keep them on my counter because they're pretty, and I don't have that much room in my fridge right now, but the reality is they'll store much better in your fridge. Okay, look at my lemon tahini cream. Do you see how this is like becoming what I want? It's still a little chunky, but it's on its way. That is true. Lemon on things makes it delicious. Let's throw this out of the way. I have a spoon right here, all you can see, so I just throw it in that direction. And we're gonna put our lemon tahini cream on the side. And the next thing that we are going to work on, unless I have other questions, can I freeze the lemon tahini cream? Nancy Jacoby's asking me. Nancy, hi. I wouldn't, but I think you're going to use it, and it will stay good in your fridge. So like tahini stays good forever, the lemon's not going to make it not stay good. So I think my best guess is it'll last you like at least a month. And if you make it right, you're going to eat it every day. And if we get this recipe right, you're going to eat this entire recipe like throughout the week. So let me just grab my paper towel here, hold on. So that I would say, don't freeze your lemon tahini cream, but you can store it in your fridge. Oh, Sarah Bessinger, Susan Bessinger saying she loves my cookbook. Thank you so much. And Kim says that my friends all got their cookbooks and they're so happy. Thank you so much, Kim. I love it. How do I store the lemon tahini cream, Andy Light? You just got your answer. Okay, so let's talk about making a stir fry. As you've heard me say in almost every single class, I always like to get my pan hot first. That is one of the things that will just make cooking a lot more pleasurable, because when you're sitting around waiting for stuff to heat up, that's when you get annoyed. So just while you're prepping your vegetables, put your pan on a medium heat and let it get ready for you, okay? I am also gonna recommend that you make more vegetables than you think you want, because you're gonna always want more. And I would recommend that you might want to cut up your vegetables in advance so it's very easy to just go into your fridge and make them. I don't do that because, as I told right before we started the class, I'm fundamentally lazy. So I don't do that, but it would be so much easier if I did do that. So I would just say you might want to cut up your vegetables. So let's first talk about creating the flavor base of our stir fry, okay? We have now, if you've been in my class, up until now, we have talked about the flavor base of a pasta sauce, garlic, olive oil, and red pepper flakes for most pasta sauces. We've talked about the flavor bases of soups, carrot, celery, and onion, a sofrito, or what the French call a mirepoix, right? So the flavor base of a stir fry, for my stir fry, is going to be onion, and we're gonna use actually green onion, garlic, and ginger. If you don't have a green onion, which is this, you can put in a little leeks. If you don't have a little leeks, you can use a little red onion. You don't have a little red onion, you can use a little yellow onion, but I like to use a little onion. By the way, you could actually, I love these green onions. You could even skip the onion and just do the garlic and ginger. You don't have ginger, just do the garlic. You don't have onion or ginger, but you have garlic, just do the garlic, okay? This is going to be delicious. That's not a problem. I'm just telling you, this is what I have been making repeatedly on this quarantine, so I wanted to share it with you. So we're gonna start, these are my 3 base ingredients. The beeping you hear is my rice cooker telling me that my grains are done. I set them up beforehand. Here's my ginger and here's my garlic. So you can see that my green onions, you know, some of them are partially falling apart. So just cut off the bad part. And we're gonna cut the whole thing up. We're gonna start by just cutting off the base right here, these little hairy things, and just, you know, slice them to the best of your ability. You know, people are always asking me about knife skills classes. I would definitely not be the teacher to teach them to you. I've never taken knife skills classes. It probably would help me, but it's just not something that seems fun to me. And I'll tell you, Italian mamas, they don't go to knife school class before they start cooking. They just start cooking. So just get in there. And so I'm chopping it all up. So one thing that you can do is you can save some of these top green things, the top of the greens, and you can save them for later and put them at the top of your macro bowl. And now we're just have these onions here set. And I'm gonna cut open a garlic. And for those of you that haven't been to my class before, this is how you open up a garlic. You put a wide knife on top. You do not smash with your hands. The force comes from your abs. Don't worry, you haven't done your ab exercises, it's still gonna work. You actually just wanna bring the force in from your body, and that's where you get that little crack. And that should, and I think it will, open up the skin of our garlic. If it doesn't come off right away, like mine's not, just do it again. There you go. And that should come off easily. There you go, came off. And I'm just gonna chop this garlic. How fine? I mean, how fine, what piece of size garlic do you want in your mouth? Probably not that big. I'm gonna use 1 clove of garlic here. Obviously, if you don't have ginger, you don't have the green onions, you're gonna want more garlic. You know, and by the way, I think quarantine, as we all know, garlic is very antimicrobial and it's antiviral. And so it's just good to keep your immune system up. So garlic is gonna be a good thing. Putting that to the side. And I'm gonna show you what I do with my ginger. Okay. So you all know this by now, unless you're new. My favorite kitchen tool is the microplane. And I'm going to take ginger, and I am not going to peel it, okay? You can peel it, but a lazy person doesn't peel it, and I'm lazy. And it actually has good nutrients inside the skin, and it doesn't make any difference. So why are you going to peel your garlic? You can stop. I used to peel my ginger all the time. Don't need to do it anymore. So I'm just going to grate the ginger. You're going to see it's not falling down. It stays right there. See that? I'm going to use my finger to scoop it out. So I'm just going to do ginger. Oh, it is falling down a little bit, but that's okay. All right. Now let's start with olive oil. Those of you that know me know that olive oil is absolutely my favorite oil to cook with. Even though we're making an Asian-styled stir fry, I start with olive oil, because I think olive oil really balances the flavors of the sort of salty and sweet things that are going to be added. And I think it goes very well with the ginger garlic onion combination. So I'm going to, coat my pan with olive oil. And I'm going to go ahead and add my green onions in here. Sizzle, sizzle. And my ginger. And my garlic, and now my ginger. So this is what I do with my ginger. And let's just give that a little bit of a stir. Well, first of all, let me just show you what's happening here. Can you guys see this? How beautiful is that? Okay, so beautiful. If you want to know if something's going to taste good, you smell it, and it smells delicious. So I'm just going to give that a little bit of a stir. And that's going to be the base. Now, I'm going to turn this, I would just do this on a medium heat. I'm going to turn it down a little bit because I just want to make sure I don't burn anything while I answer your questions, and then throw the vegetables in here, which take very short. Okay, so I've got questions. Let us see who our questions are from. Will the different grains that you put into one jar cook at different times? And if so, how can you handle if they're overcooked? So this is Jill Stein. Jill, if you are using a rice cooker, you do not need to worry about that. They're all going to be fine. I have made this recipe a million times with different grains. It's going to be fine inside of a rice cooker because it will monitor that. If you're doing this in a pot at home, it's possible that the rice will, if you add rice, it will take more. So you might just need to add a little bit more water. Maybe even the lentils will be a little bit harder. If you want to speed up the cooking time of the lentils, you can soak them first. I would say try it, but you'll be surprised that this actually comes out quite well. Yoko, ask your friends for lemons. People have lemon trees. That is a great, by the way, if anyone has lemon trees and wants to drop them off to my house, I would love it. Do I need to wash the veggies? This is up to you. Maybe in today, right now, you want to wash the veggies. I tend to buy organic and not wash my veggies, but you do what you want. That's up to you. All right, let's talk about the actual veggies that I'm going to be using. I'm gonna put these little green onions here so I don't forget them and get this plate out of the way. So, look at these plate of wilted veggies. So, one of my favorites is bok choy. So this is a big bok choy, not a baby bok choy. Baby bok choy works great. I find its flavor to be mild and kind of neutral and a little earthy. I love it. I think it works really well in a stir fry. I think everybody has celery. I think the first time I put celery in a stir fry, don't worry that it's fallen, it's like this. We're cooking it anyway. Celery works really well. Also, I think I've added celery to my first stir fry when I literally was running out of other vegetables, not even during the quarantine, just in other life. What else do I have here? I also had some dandelion greens here. I don't know where those went. I was searching. I have some more in my fridge. Anyway, we don't need to use them. Look at this. So this is like a chicory lettuce. You can even put romaine inside. So I really want to encourage you to use what you have. Oh, here's my dandelion. I found some dandelion greens. They're delicious. They're nice. They're kind of bitter, but when we cook them all here, they sweeten up. So also dandelion greens. Other things that work. are, actually I'm gonna pull some cabbage out of my fridge, is kale would be wonderful, and cabbage. Hang on, I'm running to my fridge to grab my cabbage. Okay, I always forget something. I have 2 cabbages in my fridge. I want to encourage you a lot to buy cabbage right now. Why? Is because while everything else is floppy, these things are maintaining in my fridge. Obviously, the way that we get the most nourishment from vegetables is that we eat them right away, directly from the farm. It's not happening right now on a multitude of levels. But if you keep cabbage, it's gonna stay well for you. So that's great. Like, buy cabbage. You think it's just your grandmother's food, but it's not. So I'm gonna move this off the heat because I see that it's ready, and we're gonna start adding some vegetables quickly. Let's talk about what vegetables are we going to add first. By the way, I'm also gonna be adding mushrooms. So let me just stop and say this, but I'll talk to you about the mushrooms in a moment. Let's one thing at a time. We're gonna add the vegetables first that take the longest to cook. So in this array, the thing that will take the longest to cook is either the celery or the cabbage. So let's work on those first. If you add red cabbage, that's great, but it is going to color up your entire stir fry. So I just like a little raw cabbage on the end. So I'm just gonna add a little bit of cabbage. Believe me, you can always make more. I mean, not always make, like, the more you make, the happier you're gonna be. And I'm just adding some cabbage in here. And now I'm gonna turn my heat back up because we're ready to roll. And I'm going to add a piece of celery. I'm just gonna add 1 piece of celery because I'm at the end of my celery and I'm gonna need my celery for other stuff. Try to go to the market only once every 2 weeks. That's my goal. And that's probably everyone's goal. You can see that I even use the leaves of celery. Okay, goes in here. Great, fantastic. Let's get it going. And there's my spoon to stir it up inside of all of the deliciousness that is already in our pans. Okay, fantastic. Patsy Palmer is asking, are you the only person in the world who doesn't know what tahini is? Patsy, you might be. Tahini is a paste that is made from crushed sesames. Then it's a staple in Middle Eastern cooking. So yeah, like if you've ever eaten a falafel or there's something creamy in there, that's made with tahini. If you've ever had halva, you know, that like Middle Eastern dessert made from sesame seeds, that's like a tahini dessert. So I think you do know what tahini is, Patsy. Maybe you just don't remember what it is, or you don't, you didn't totally recognize it. Okay, we're gonna keep, someone else asked me a question too. Well, what is my favorite pan? Let's go to that later. And there we go. So I'm gonna keep adding more things. The next thing that is gonna take the longest to cook will be my mushrooms. Now, I chose, you can see these gorgeous, look at these. These are shiitakes, okay? So beautiful. Any mushrooms are gonna do, don't sweat it. But if you're at the market and you have an opportunity to buy mushrooms and buy shiitakes, do it, because as all of the health gurus that I have visited in my life have told me, shiitake mushrooms have really strong immune properties. So all mushrooms do. In fact, they're very good for your immune system. You can even take, mushroom capsules that you can buy at the health food store, and those are going to help build your immunity. I take a mushroom tincture almost every day. So mushrooms are not just a thing that we eat. They are very, very healing, and they are very important even to our entire ecosystem. So I am going to add my mushrooms into the pan. Love it. Let's give it a little stir around. Patsy says now she knows what tahini is. Of course we do. Okay, throw this in. Let's just show you what we got going on here. See, it's looking beautiful. We are going to answer the question, what are the vegetables that do not go in here? And why am I choosing these particular vegetables? So I'm going to answer that question right now as I begin to cut up this lettuce, this chicory. I am choosing vegetables that have similar flavor palettes. Okay, the mushrooms aside, but talking about the greens, these are all slightly bitter. They're all greens. They're gonna go together, all right? They're not gonna outdo each other. A type of vegetable that does outdo all the other vegetables, it's my vegetable pet peeve, is bell peppers. I have a strong aversion to bell peppers. One is that I have a sensitive stomach, and people with sensitive stomachs should really be careful with the bell peppers because they can be hard on your stomach. But two, and I learned this in Italy, is that bell peppers overpower. And the Italians were like, why does there always put bell peppers in everything? You know, where I live in Rome, bell peppers were in their own dish. Like if you ate bell peppers, they have a pollo ai peperoni, which is a chicken with peppers. It wasn't chicken with peppers and mushrooms and onions and cabbage and this and that and that. It was just peppers. I mean, there might have been some onion in there, but it was like the whole dish was about the peppers. When you add bell peppers to anything that you are making, the entire dish becomes infused by the bell peppers, and you cannot taste the beauty of the other vegetables. And believe me, even just this lettuce, this chicory lettuce that I put in here, hold on, I'm gonna turn this down. Chicory lettuce that I put in here, or the bok choy that's gonna go in here, or the cabbage, they have flavor. Allow those to come forward, okay? We're gonna season these, don't worry, I'm gonna add seasoning, but here's what we got going on here. Okay, it looks so yummy. Let's continue to add veggies. By the way, for your benefit, I'm doing like 6 different veggies. You know, sometimes at home I just do like 3 and I call it a day. These are dandelion. I love dandelion. I don't always love it. Well, I do actually like it raw, but it can be a little like strong. So if you don't like dandelion raw, so good for you, dandelion. Great liver detoxifier, goes in there. And lastly, some bok choy. Take a couple pieces. So I already got a lot of stuff going on in here. So what I love about this bok choy is that, well, if you put it in at the very end, it sort of maintains its crispiness. And that's a really lovely thing. So I see that we have questions coming and I'm getting to you, but just give me a second. I'm going to season this. And that's going to be, yeah, let's just smell it and see how it is, okay? It's delicious. I smell the garlic, the ginger, I smell the different vegetables. Now, I'm gonna actually season this and then take a moment's break to answer your questions. So if you could see that it's kind of beginning to dry at the bottom of my pan. That's because there's no water coming out of the vegetables, and it's going to be the salt that brings the water out. You can move much faster in your stir fry than I was doing, but I'm sitting here talking to you. So this could take half the amount of time. So first we'll add a little, you can add a little bit of salt. I'm not going to put a ton because I'm adding other salty things in. And the next thing I'm going to add is some tamari. Tamari is a wheat-free soy sauce. For people that are sensitive to wheat, I also find it to be a higher quality soy sauce, but soy sauce is going to be great. I'm not putting in a ton, just a little bit. We're not making Chinese food. We're making, whatever that, I don't even know how to make Chinese food. It's not like go over soy sauce is my point. Let the flavors come from the other things. Now, you have a choice of 2 other ingredients to use. You may or may not have them. Don't stress if you don't. My normal go-to for stir fries is fish sauce, and this is red goat fish sauce that I really love because it's very good quality. This is sort of what they would use in Thailand, and it's wonderful. And it's always what I've taught. But look, I'm like at the end of it, so I was like scared to run out of it. So I found this mirin, which is a rice cooking wine. This is a healthy brand of it, Eden, organic brand of it. And I put this in my stir fry, and now I'm obsessed. So you might say, I don't have that. Well, guess what? You also might have it in the back of your pantry and not know about it, because I did. I haven't used this in here. So I'm going to add a little bit of mirin. And I am going to stir this up. And we're basically going to be done in like a half a second. The only thing I need to do is taste it and to see how it is. Whew. It's delicious. I made a little more vegetables than I normally do. I'm going to add a little bit of everything to it. Just a little bit. Okay, so taste is gonna be the most important thing to know if your food is good. And we're gonna talk about doing the grains and everything else. But let's take a break for a second. Put this on the side to answer questions. Okay, here I am. I love being a teacher. I get to put my computer in my hand and talk to you at the same time. My favorite thing. Quick question, what is my favorite pan? Well, this is one of them, although you're gonna have a hard time finding it because I bought it years ago and it's hard to find. But what I do love is a ceramic coated pan. And the one that I have on my website and the one that I talk about in my book is a J. Henkel's, like a Zwilling pan. So you can go to elanahorwich.com, look in my shop, it takes you right to Amazon, and that's what I love because it's non-stick, but it's not that non-stick stuff on top. That like regular non-stick is really not good for you, and you do not want to use non-stick pans. But I like a ceramic coated pan. What settings are you cooking on? Medium. Yes, you are going to cook this on a medium heat. Potentially go to medium high, but I would say a medium heat. Sometimes in cooking classes, I lower and raise things up to like meet the timing of us, but go for medium heat, says Corin. Do I make a stock out of my scraps? Well, I do. I mean, I don't have a ton of scraps right here, but absolutely. Like you can put the scraps of your onion, the scraps of the top of a leek, or sort of the scraps of any vegetables that you have, stick them in a Ziploc, stick them in your freezer, and then when you make a stock, throw all that stuff in. You can do that. Can I repeat the brand of fish sauce? I absolutely may, Carol. This is Red Boat. This is the best quality fish sauce. And it's the one that you're gonna find at Whole Foods or something like that. You know, the other way to buy fish sauce is you go into a Thai market, it's not even in English, you don't know what you're buying, but there's often ingredients in there that you don't want. Like, I can't tell you off the top of my head whether it's sugar or MSG or something. Like, this is very pure. This is made really just from like anchovies and sea salt, that's it. But it's made in the way, in a process that it comes out perfectly. So that is that. I am schwitzing here, so we're gonna continue. All right. Let's get these grains going. So, where Passover is ending, but I still have my matzah oven mitts. And for those of you that consider it's like a steam bath coming on, you can just see the steam coming even off the top of my rice cooker. Okay. And so here's my grains. I did the exact same thing that I showed you, and this is what they look like. You can see this is like halfway full. That mason jar made a lot of grain. So this is gonna keep me fed for a long time. Whew. Okay, 2 possibilities here. All right, so just pay attention, it's not very complicated, but it's 2 possibilities. If you were making this for your family and you were gonna make it all at once and serve it, my recommendation is that you dress these grains now, all of them, and I'm going to show you how. If you're not, and you're going to eat it little by little throughout the week, I would say don't dress the grains, just as you use them, make your stir fry, add the grains directly in here. You might add a little bit more salt or olive oil or a touch more of tamari and just mix it all together. That's what I have been doing. But I'm going to assume that you guys are just, you know, want to get it going and you're making this all at once. And it's okay if you have leftovers of this. What we do now is not going to ruin it for later at all. But we're going to dress these grains. So you always want to dress your quinoa. Always, always. Even when you make my quinoa salad from my book, you are going to dress the quinoa while it's warm or hot. Better warm, this is hot, but you want to do it hot. That way the grains themselves soak in the flavors. So that's what's really important. This is a lot of quinoa. So don't, you know, this is, you think, oh my God, it's a lot of olive oil. First of all, this olive oil comes out kind of slow while making it come out fast, but you want a lot of olive oil. You want it to have moisture. When you go and you eat quinoa out somewhere and you're like, why isn't this good? I don't like quinoa. It's because they're not dressing when it's warm. They're not putting enough olive oil. And the next thing I'm going to add is some tamari to it. Might need a little bit more. And some salt. You know, if those of you at home, you know what I'm talking about when I say Bragg's amino acid or coconut aminos. Cook them in there too, okay? Keeping this simple just in case that people have. Matzo glove, and I just stir this in. Let me see if I can show you. See, it's like, oh, I'm getting a spatial, which is needed. And it's so delicious. Just this is delicious. It'd be so delicious with your tahini cream. So let's just see how it tastes. There's not enough salt in here. So I'm gonna add more tamari, more salt. That is gonna give it some flavor. Remember, we're also putting the stir fry on top, so it doesn't have to be super flavored, but you want it to have some. Okay. Now this isn't that pretty, I admit, but it will taste really good. And even though it looks a little mushy here, it has texture in my mouth. I do recommend though you stir it while it's warm, not necessarily hot like I did. Okay, now let's talk about making our macro bowl and putting it together, unless I have some immediate questions here. I'm getting thanked for taking the time to teach these classes, Judy Zwig. You're so welcome. I appreciate, thank you for appreciating me. This is my service. This is a gift that I feel called to share, and cooking is a form of prayer. And you know, by cooking and teaching, this is my way of opening my heart and adding my heart to the goodness of the world. And I love that you are all at your homes cooking and adding the goodness of the world to your, you know, from your heart as well. So thank you. That looks like an amazing rice cooker. Does it work in the same way as an Instapot? You guys, I don't own an Instapot, and people love them, and I don't know how to use it. So I just apologize. My rice cooker that only some of you can see, but you do see this part here, is a Vita clay. And what I love about the Vita clay is that it's actually made of clay. So your food is being cooked not in those like fake, you know, ingredients that are in a regular rice cooker, but inside of clay, which is better flavor and better health. What it does not, the Vita clay doesn't do is make perfect like Japanese Asian rice. That's not going to happen for here. For that you need like a Zori Jushi, I think is what the brand is called, if I pronounce that correctly. Okay, so now I need a bowl to do this in. So I am going to take, you know, my quinoa and my grains, as much as I want, and I gotta get this out of my way because it's just like steaming up my face. Okay, and now I'm going to add my veggies. Oh, go right on there. Remember, if you're doing leftovers, you're just gonna add your quinoa right to your veggies and stir it all over heat. Is that good? Now we're gonna add some tahini, some of my tahini cream. So look at my tahini cream got really thick again. I can add more hot water to it. I'm gonna not do that right now because I just wanna keep your attention and I don't want to boil more water, but I'm just gonna add some cream to it. I did get a question from Ada, wants to know if you can use couscous. You can. But you can't, I don't think you can cook couscous in a rice maker, and what you're getting is wheat. Couscous is not like a grain. It's not gonna be as healthy, and it's really not gonna lend itself to this type of dish. So, you know, we would want you to make couscous when you're making that Moroccan chicken that we made last week. That would be a nice pairing. But for this, I'm gonna say stick to quinoa, stick to brown rice, stick to these lentils. I happen to know Ada a little bit. She's my mother. You're gonna like it, Mom. I know your tastes. You'll like it, and so will Dad. Okay, so remember this? I had these green onion things from before. The tops of our green onions. We cooked the rest. That's gonna go on here. Already, we're looking at something completely beautiful. Something else that can go on top. More sesame seeds, toasted sesame seeds. Fabulous addition. Love it. Any fresh herbs that you have. Now, when I say fresh herbs, this is my cilantro. Can you see this? This would be embarrassing, perhaps, in another era, but I'm actually very proud that I have a near dead bunch of cilantro, and I'm gonna use what is still alive in here. We have really, if you haven't gotten the memo here, we have pissed Mother Earth off. We have not been judicious with the way that we have used the fruits from her land. And if we just throw something out all the time and throw it out and get another one and throw it out and get another one, it's just more pollution. How do you think this got to the market? More pollution, more trash. Use this quarantine time to really be conscious of what you have in the house. Obviously, I'm not going to use this brown stuff that's like literally looks like, you know, God knows what. But I have a few leaves over here that are green. They might be floppy, but they're usable. So, you know, I'm not telling you to spend all day picking out cilantro, but before you throw it out, use what you have. And you could put basil on top of here. You could even put mint, parsley. Okay, so maybe what you would do is you would take, I'll show you what I do. Oh shoot, where's my scissors? Let's see if it's here. It's in the dishwasher, forget it. Okay, so instead of scissors, let's use fingers. Just rip up some cilantro and put it on here, okay? I'll show you one other trick you can add here too, which is not in front of me. Look at this, by the way. I mean, this is amazing. Can you guys see this? Absolutely gorgeous. I just want you to know that if I had a restaurant one day, which I'm not planning on doing, but I know, I think about all the time about how I would develop the menu. Like, people would come in for this all the time. Vegan food is like on the rise. And we don't want to eat meat all the time. It's very important to eat from plants. So another thing that I have always at home is nori. Nori is the seaweed that is used for sushi. I know some people don't like it, like Ada. But if you have some, or you have those like nori snacks, I ideally would use a scissors and cut it really small, but let's just, you know, I don't have it in front of me. You can just take little pieces of nori and add it here too. So you just get creative. If you saw my Instagram today, I showed you a nori snack that I make all the time by wrapping the nori around avocado and some other delicious things. So here is a macro bowl. Let's answer your questions. I will, of course, eat it on camera for you. Okay, Paige is saying that she hates quinoa. And Paige, by the way, was my college roommate, sophomore year at Brown University. We were not eating quinoa then, but we were eating grains in the form of beer and other things. Paige, by the way, I taught how to make quinoa at Brown, at the International House. And the professor, the head of Italian studies, was like, I don't eat quinoa. And he ate my quinoa and he was like, oh my God, I like quinoa. So you might think you don't like quinoa, but you're right. It's that you don't have enough olive oil on it. It needs to be dressed while it's warm, and you need to add something salty like tamari to it. Also, like when I normally just do plain quinoa, I add lemon to it. The lemon's coming in here from the tahini. I think that's it. Preach, Elana. Someone told me to preach. Well, I did preach. I do preach. Let's taste it just to make sure I'm not lying to you all about its deliciousness. Get in there. I gotta get everything in there. I love to eat with chopsticks. It kind of slows me down. You know, Jewish women, we eat fast. Mic drop. Fantastic. Amazing. Yes, I would serve it in a restaurant. So we are teaching tomorrow. We're going to learn how to make nut milk, show you how to turn that nut milk into a chia seed pudding. Same time tomorrow. You can join me on Zoom or Instagram or on Facebook as well. I want to remind you guys that if you would like a Bible on how to be a badass in the kitchen and how to cook from what you have in the pantry and how to know how to make things and not be married to recipes, plus get really awesome, fun, adventurous tales from a Jewish girl who lived in Italy for 5 years, Meal and a Spiel, How to Be a Badass in the Kitchen, is a little slow to ship on Amazon, but we are shipping it all the time from my warehouse, and we have a 20% discount. It is all caps, Kitchen Badass 20. It's on my website. Go to elanahorwich.com. Be like Kim, send it to your best friends who need it. And we're going to be coming back for more. So just, I love all your feedback. Please tell me what it is you want to learn. It's going to be contingent on what I have in the house, of course, but I really love being with you. And I'm incredibly grateful to you for giving me the space to share my gifts. And you have given me purpose. so much purpose when I started teaching 10 years ago. And I really send everybody from my heart love and health and wellness. And remember, we have a choice whether or not we want to live in fear or we want to live in love. Can't control everything, so you might as well just enjoy all the time that you have right now. Right? Right now. All the time you have. Enjoy your quarantine right now. That's what I mean by that. Lots of love, guys. Thank you for being here.